You're talking to the Rolex wearing,
Habits not wise to the Wookiee.
diamond ring wearing,
Let the Wookiee win.
kid stealing, wheeling dealing,
From Milwaukee, Wisconsin,
limousine like, jet flying, son of a gun. And I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down.
What's going on, guys? It is This Week in Wrestling. We had quite a week, quite a bit of news, quite a bit of things that my guest today didn't know about, which will make for fun and interesting conversation if I can get this off my damn screen. But we have M2J, Matt, from Doing the Job. I'm going to let him do his plugs because he's got a boatload. So, Matt, take it away, sir.
Happy Easter, everyone.
Happy Easter.
Happy Passover for those of you.
Okay, I got a question for you.
Sure.
Because you're literally one of two Jewish people I know. Well, I live in Wisconsin. We don't have a heavy Jewish community here.
Right.
We do, but they would just, I don't want to say they keep to themselves, but they do. I mean, it's not heavy. They don't go out, and I've always been curious when, and I'm sure an easy Google search would have told me this. When is Passover?
It started Monday night, and I think it goes until tomorrow night.
Okay.
So
I've always been curious.
Yep.
And what is Passover? I had
So
this
what
conversation with my wife last night.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's the Festival of Lights. And I'm like, no, that's Hanukkah.
That's Hanukkah, yeah. Passover was the spirit of death or something to that tune came down to earth and killed all of the firstborn of the Egyptians that were enslaving the Jews. And the spirit passed over the Jewish homes. I believe they had to paint lamb's blood on their door.
Yeah, it was lamb's blood on their door, right? Like we saw in the Ten Commandments.
Exactly.
Okay, I've never, like I said, an easy Google search would have completely told me.
The Egyptians didn't want to let the Jews go, so they called in reinforcements in the way of God.
And he killed everyone.
It's a good tag team partner to have. God.
Good tag team, God. Except if you're in a WWE.
Yeah, except that count out loss to Vince McMahon that God has.
But he'll win in the end.
I wonder how many people remember that.
I unfortunately do, but I'm wondering, like when God said, when he comes up to the pearly gates, and he's like, "Hey, remember that tag team loss that I have to you? To hell with you, sir." That's something that should be televised, but probably won't be.
No, although it definitely should be. That's ratings.
That is ratings for you. But quick hello to everybody in the chat. Hi guys, how you doing?
Hello everybody in the chat.
Hello everybody in the chat. I'm surprised we have this many people in the chat. To be 100% honest with you, with it being obviously Easter and all, and Easter and like you said, Passover is going on. It's a very holy weekend, except for those of us who more deem ourselves agnostics than anything else.
I'm actually an ordained atheist minister. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that on this show before.
What is an ordained atheist minister?
So in order to perform wedding ceremonies, which I have done, you have to actually register as some kind of clergy or parson for any kind of religion and then bring it to City Hall and say, well, I'm a minister of this religion. So there's a website, I think it's called the First Church of Atheism, and you can register on there if you identify as an atheist. And they can't tell you, no, your religion is illegitimate. So I brought that to City Hall, and that's how I registered to be a minister and have performed wedding ceremonies.
That's really, that's not, I guess I consider that strange considering you're like, oh, I'm an atheist minister. It's like,
yeah,
interesting. But why don't you go ahead? We'll get your plugs out of the way, guys. Go ahead.
Yeah, DTJWrestling.com. It's Doing the Job Wrestling Podcast. It's the oldest wrestling podcast in the universe. That's not true at all, but it's kind of old at this point. It's actually 5 years.
In space and time, yes!
It's hard to believe it's been 5 years, although sometimes it feels like 500.
Is that a joke?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't get the reference.
It does feel like a long time sometimes. And that's what you say when you're married and you're miserable. You say,
with your partners.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think I'm still feuding with one. I don't even know. According to the chat, I'm feuding with Grim from Grim's Toy Show, which I've never talked to the man ever. So, yeah. I don't know how I'm feuding with him.
Escalate that feud because controversy creates cash.
Yes. Not anymore, though. Not on YouTube anymore because I'm a wrestling channel. I can't monetize anything.
Oh, yeah.
So we and I kind of talked about that off air, guys. I do have a video coming up for you guys later on in the day. A lot of you guys have been asking me a lot of different questions about what's going to happen to the channel, all that jazz, and I think I address most of them in that video. If you have more, feel free to leave them down in the comments section down below. Anything else you want to? I mean, you could follow yourself on at M2J.
Yep. It's coolest Twitter in the world. I post pictures of wrestlers wrestling a lot of the time, indie wrestlers.
And then they get stolen.
And I don't want to say stolen.
They're stolen.
They use them. They don't say thank you M2J, but yeah, they're out there.
So they're stolen.
Yeah,
that's pretty much stealing when they don't reference you.
It's not stealing if I allow them to steal it. I look the other way.
Do you have a recourse though? Really? I mean, could you be like, hey, that's my picture and flag it?
I'm sure I could because I have all the originals and I could say like, hey, these are mine. Here's the proof. But I want them to put these pictures out there. I mean, they are pictures of their performers performing, so they do have a right to use them.
It's really weird because like my wife she's taking a class right now. I forget what it's called, but it's legitimately like photography law.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And like how she has to go about things to protect her work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really interesting, and she's scolded me. I don't know if you saw. I have a nice little picture up there with my wife, a piece of pizza, and a big black dildo behind her. It's called Mama Wookie Got a New Toy. Now that was a camera, but she's like, you can't use my intellectual property. I have my watermark on it. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know. I'm married. Isn't it also 50% my intellectual property as well?
Yeah, you don't have any possession anymore. You share them all.
Right. That's what I was thinking, but what the fuck do I know? I'm just
sickness and in health.
I'm just a guy who posts shit on the internet. So, man, guys,
wait. Speaking of plugs, you mentioned this chat. Where does one find this chat?
Oh, you can just go to my channel. You'll see This Week in Wrestling 4/16/2017.
Okay.
I can't share it with you over Skype because Skype's a bastard.
I was just wondering. I was wondering where I would find it.
Yeah. Go ahead. Feel free.
Cool.
I figured you knew by now. I mean, this is like your 72nd appearance on the show.
I'm like a glorified part-timer like Brock Lesnar.
It's okay. We love having you on.
All right.
We're going to have you on a ton more. We'll have you on the guys, don't forget, check out the Mixler once that gets up and running. If you guys want to get entered in for that WWE subscription card, don't forget, leave me your names for the Kevin and Wookie show. As Sexy Curtis saying, cookies. I don't think we're going to name it cookies, but we'll add it to the pool of names that we're choosing from. Me, Kevin, and I'm sure Mama Wookie and Lindsay will pick the name that we deem the best.
I kind of like cookies.
I like cookies too, but a name for a podcast?
Why
cookies? I don't know. I guess cereal has made its way into like the top podcasting section.
Different kind of cereal.
But
yeah.
all in all, still,
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But leave that in the chat, not in the chat, but in the comments section down below after this video. Repost, or you can go back to the last video that we did. Leave it over there for your chance to win. And then for those of you guys with graphic designs, you could probably start getting some of those ready because we're gonna be doing a giveaway for that as well because we're gonna need a design eventually. And you can go watch that video if you want to find the criteria for what me and Kevin, Skype is a scumbag. Yes, it is. If you want to find the criteria for that, for all of that, and then we can move on from there. Guys, go check out Matt. You can find him pretty much wherever podcasts are sold or given away.
That's true.
I'm sure you guys, do you have a Patreon too? Patreon.com/.
Actually, let me
DTJ?
I actually don't remember what it is at the moment. We do have a Patreon. I mean, it's linked on Doing the Job, DTJWrestling.com, which is pretty much our portal to everywhere.
Yeah, so go check them out over there.
Yeah.
Luke, as of right now, like I said, come back to the video. I address all the questions there. If I was leaving, I would have been gone already. I guess I'll tell you that. I would have boot, scoot, and boogied already, but you are frozen, sir. Are you frozen? No, you're not frozen.
I'm not frozen.
You're not frozen. You just put your arm up, and I thought you were frozen.
Yeah, I blocked the sunlight from coming in.
Oh, damn sun, that bastard. But we had an interesting week in wrestling this week. We're not going to get into all the fun YouTube stuff that happened that was addressed in another video. And considering you guys really do YouTube, I mean, you have a YouTube channel. You guys can find it. I believe it's just Doing the Job over on YouTube. If you guys want to go over there, you can see Matt's pretty face.
You could actually do Doing the Job wrestling podcast. I think will land you closer to us because Doing the Job can be kind of nebulous.
I typed in Doing the Job the other day, and that your YouTube channel popped right up.
Oh, awesome.
So I am not on restricted mode. Haha. So I found you right away. So I think that would be the easiest. Otherwise, go check out their podcast, check out their Patreon, throw them a couple bucks.
Yeah,
they're
really.
good.
Yep.
They're good guys over there, except for that Denny Luggs. He's a bastard. I think. I'm not sure. But we had a fun week in wrestling. We're going to move on to the wrestling world. We had a superstar shakeup this week, which is something I want to talk about. Monday night, obviously. Who did we get on Monday night?
The Miz.
Mm-hmm. Miz and Maurice.
Miz and Maurice. Dean Ambrose. I think that was it. Just those
The
two.
SmackDown women's roster.
Well,
Most of it. We got...
was it literally just Alexa Bliss?
it was Alexa Bliss and Mickie James.
Oh, that's right.
So pretty much most of the SmackDown women's roster.
But they got a gem over there, though, so that was good.
They got Charlotte, which I think Charlotte needed a change of scenery.
Right.
Although I love Charlotte. She's fantastic. She needed a change. And that's fair. I think every now and again, when you have two shows, you can shake it up like that and give her maybe a new breath of life over there. And then they got Tamina, which, yay. Yay? Yay?
Well, I guess technically she hasn't been on TV in a while.
Over a year, I want to say.
I was at a SmackDown house show a few months ago and she showed up there. So she's been active roster for a while now.
I want to move to New York because you guys get everything.
That's sort of true. We do.
Because I'll tell you, I've never had a SmackDown house show here.
Really?
Never, not once. We've never had a SmackDown live show.
Mm-hmm.
We had one Raw live show, which was pretty good. I enjoyed it. And then we had Fastlane, and that was it. That's all we've had in the past, 2 years.
It's not so bad.
It's not so bad, but still, it's I would like to see a SmackDown house show.
Yeah.
I would like to see that, but SmackDown normally goes to Green Bay, and that's a hike for me, considering I live 2 hours away. So in the Superstar Shakeup on Raw, who does this help the most?
I think it helps Charlotte a lot.
On Raw.
I don't think so. The thing that's weird about bringing Ambrose over to Raw is that you now have all of the Shield on one show again, but they're not the Shield anymore, and they're all baby faces as well. So it's very strange to have them all in the same place and not reunify.
Will they reunify?
I'd like to think so, but hopefully before that could happen, one of them will switch alignment.
So out of all, who are you hoping for? And I think I already know the answer.
I mean, it's like the obvious answer is going to be Roman Reigns, but I don't know. I think they're just going to stay the course with him. They're just going to keep doing this, exactly what they're doing.
All right. So the gauntlet has been thrown on Roman Reigns. I don't know. I know you try to stick away from the sheets, but do you think Roman Reigns could come back with the Undertaker gimmick?
You mean actually be the new Undertaker?
That's been the rumor I have seen.
It's funny because I've been saying this on the show now for months on Doing the Job. I've been saying how great would it be if he just became the new Undertaker? And of course, a lot of my buddies take it as tongue in cheek, but it's kind of serious if you're talking to me because that's how I roll. And so last week on the show, Denny said, "How great would it be if this effectively was Braun Strowman killing him?"
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, so here's what I was thinking is that, okay, so now he's in the hospital, maybe he's there with, the tubes in his nose or whatever. Then Braun Strowman
died.
Braun Strowman comes in and goes, "I'm not done yet," and just beats the shit out of him in the hospital.
Yeah.
And effectively kills, you see the flat line.
Yeah.
And now he's dead.
And then he shows up on Raw the next week, and the funeral bells toll. He walks out with a trench coat. I mean, I would eat it up. I think it would be great.
Would you eat it up, or do you think it's just going to be a fuck you, Roman?
I would eat it up, personally.
Because I don't know what the crowd would feel on that one.
Fun fact, Wookie. I
Yeah.
started the "Fuck You Roman" chant. Me and my amigos.
Oh, did you?
Yep.
That's
we started
fantastic.
that one, and we started "Go Away." That was all us.
Nice, very nice. Were you? So you weren't at the Raw when Roman killed, or where Strowman killed Roman.
I was not.
That was at the Raw afterward.
Yeah, I was actually going to go to that because it's 45 minutes from my apartment, but there was only individual seats, and I wanted to go with my crew. So we were like, if we get anything good on StubHub, maybe we'll go. And as usual, everything on StubHub was like $100 for like nosebleeds. So we just
either that or they asked you not to come back after what you did in Miami.
they're like, never come back, thank you.
Please don't come back.
Yeah.
Because that was the longest chant that I had heard in a long time. I mean, that was, solid 15 minutes?
It took up the first 15 minutes of the show. It was just chanting "Thank you, Taker," followed by all the "fuck you" chants to Roman.
Yeah, that was the longest chant I had heard, and he just let it go, and I was surprised. No editing.
It was very cathartic, I got to tell you.
Was it louder? Was it as loud on TV as it was? Did you watch it back?
I went back and watched it after we got back to the hotel, and it seemed like it all came through. Like they didn't pull any punches. They just let it go.
And that's where I thought he was turning heel. I was like, all right, he's heel now. You know, obviously they're like, oh, yep, he's heel. And then all of a sudden Braun Strowman comes and decides to try to kill Undertaker or Roman Reigns the following. And I'm like, is he a heel or is he a face now? I mean, don't know.
At this point, I don't see how he's like. I understand that he wrestles as a babyface, but I don't see how he is a babyface. Like, especially after losing after defeating the Undertaker, like there's almost no recovering from that in this situation. Like he's not a guy that the crowd would like. If AJ Styles were to have beaten Undertaker, the crowd would have been like, "Oh, look at this passing of the torch," kind of. But because it's Roman Reigns, everyone's like, "Screw you, buddy."
Do you think Roman gets a lot of hate that he doesn't deserve?
I think he personally doesn't deserve it. He's been booked all wrong, though, and it sucks. It really does suck for him. But if you just look at the history of how he came to be where he is now, the Shield split up. He really didn't do much in that time. He had one noteworthy match, and when I say noteworthy, I don't mean it was a good match necessarily. I mean, it was, but that was this match with Randy Orton. I think it was around SummerSlam time. Mm-hmm. That was like his first real singles match of like his singles push. And then he got injured, and he was out for the rest of the year. And then he pops back in January and wins the Royal Rumble. And he did it at a time where everybody wanted Daniel Bryan to win. And then he beat Daniel Bryan the next month, and it just made everybody hate him more and more. Like, as a performer, he's great. I mean, he's really fabulous. I've got no complaints about him, but you can't just put somebody in there and be like, this guy right now, this is the guy. Like him a lot.
So do you think he's more of a victim of the times?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And then they just made bizarre booking choices with him, having him win when he should lose, having him lose when he should win. And even look back at the Royal Rumble last year where he left the Royal Rumble for like a half hour because he was injured. So he basically just didn't wrestle for half of the Royal Rumble. And like, you can't get behind somebody when they do that.
He was backstage with an oxygen mask on.
Yeah, he's not fighting through, adversity. He just leaves and he comes back when he feels better. It's like, that's a weird way to book a babyface.
Yeah, and it's like he's not booked as a babyface either.
Right.
Which is really strange because he wins a lot of the matches where it's like, oh, he should probably lose.
I mean, he's booked as a babyface in the way that, like, he doesn't cheat and he doesn't insult the fans, although he kind of started insulting the fans right before the Undertaker match, and that was when I thought maybe there was a chance we were going to see something interesting happen, but it didn't, obviously.
Yeah, unfortunately, Luke, it's that's a YouTube issue. I have fixed everything on my end with the FPS. I'm looking at my OBS right now. It is running at almost 4,300 kilobytes per second, 60 frames per second, and YouTube still says it's bad. There's literally nothing I can do on that point. That is YouTube. I don't know if that's YouTube with the whole bullshit with the wrestling podcasts and all that shit. Hi, wife. 102 eggs.
Say hi for me.
Oh, Matt says hi.
Hi.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
It's okay. She says Happy Easter, but she's like, oh. I'm like, I'm sure he does not mind.
I don't mind.
So the kids have 102 eggs. How are we gonna scatter 102 eggs?
You could be lazy and put like 3 of them in one place at a time.
With Ben, Jay, and Fee, they each get 34 eggs.
Ben is 16. Does he really need an Easter egg hunt? He's 16.
When I was 16, I
How much money are in these Easter eggs?
None. They're all candy.
All right, so 16-year-olds, I feel like you got to throw them some bucks in there.
Oh, he got it. His birthday was on Thursday. He got enough bucks.
Oh, okay.
Trust you and me. I don't remember raking in $300 for my birthday.
You don't.
Me? No, I never got 300. I mean, do you ever remember a birthday where you're like, I'm rolling in cash. I can go buy me a freaking Xbox or something like that?
Probably when I got much older.
How much older, though? Are we talking like graduation?
This would have been like my mid-20s.
Oh, okay. I was going to say like a graduation party.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I remember graduation party. I got quite a bit of cash, but for a birthday, $20, man. That was it. But my family are cheap bastards.
My grandma usually gave me 50.
50? Man,
Yeah.
20 was it, man. If it was a 20, you were in good. Man, I never got a 50 or $100 bill. None of that shit.
I did.
Yeah, your family's weird. Your family's rolling in dough then, I guess. And I thought I would married up with you guys, but
The fuck is that?
I don't know. But back to wrestling. Luke, sorry, what time is that video going to drop? Whenever I get it done. I filmed it last night while Mama Wookie was working on her homework, so I gotta throw that shit in Vegas and chop it and all that fun stuff. I will be choosing these names next week Friday, so get your names in as quickly as possible. Where did we leave off? We were talking about Roman.
Roman Reigns being poorly booked.
Yes, I mean
He's a talented performer, but they don't know how to make the fans like him, and they just seem to have given up at this point.
Well, have they given up, or they're just like, this is a good... It's a lot of flip-flopping, I think, with Roman, too. Is that wrong to say?
I mean, here's the thing. He is getting a reaction, and that unfortunately is good. If people are going to keep tuning in to hate him, then they don't need to change a damn thing. They're just going to... To them, that's working, and they're just going to let it happen. And I sort of agree with that.
I mean, that's what Stone Cold said on his podcast, right? Whether you get boos or cheers, you're getting a reaction.
Yeah, people like to split hairs and say, well, it's not the right kind of heat. It's go away heat, but seems like it's the right kind of heat to me.
Well, I need more clarification on what go away heat is, because heat is heat, isn't it?
No, because there's the kind of heat where people just don't want to see you. Like, I would dare say that someone like Stephanie McMahon has go away heat. Like, she walks out and the crowd just doesn't care. Like, they just, please leave now. That's go away heat. Like, they don't
see. But even then, that's still heat.
It is, but it's not like no one's gonna buy. There's no kind of story that progresses with her being there. Like, she's not gonna get her comeuppance. You're not gonna sell any tickets to see people get one over on Stephanie McMahon. They just don't want her there.
I beg to differ. I think if they had the get your comeuppance on Stephanie McMahon episode, people would buy that shit.
Yeah, but they never do.
Right. That's half the problem is nobody.
Yeah.
You know who got their comeuppance on Stephanie? Triple H.
Well, that's the other problem. Her comeuppance are always like these incidental things, like wrong place, wrong time. Oh, she got speared. Oh, she fell off the ring onto a table. It's never somebody going right up to her and being like, you know what, fuck you, and like slapping her.
Do you think that's the direction though? Like with WWE and the direction that they're going, like they're going this family-friendly experience. You can't just walk around you can't just walk around big, messily men slapping women.
No, you can't. But then you had earlier in the year, you had her getting in Sasha Banks' face and saying...
And there was nothing done to Sasha Banks.
Well, I'm the boss. You might call yourself the boss, but it's me. And it would have been great if Sasha stepped to her and said, you know what? I am the boss, and screw you, and slapped her. And maybe they even have God forbid, a Mania match where... literally, what was it, 2-3 years ago? They had the Brie and Stephanie McMahon match, and for no reason at all, Stephanie McMahon won that match, and it was bullshit because they turned Nikki heel to make Brie lose the match for no reason. Because literally 3 months later, the Bella Twins had reunited and everything was fine. Like, they literally turned her heel so that Stephanie didn't have to lose, and it was painfully obvious. And it was
I remember that.
Terrible.
No, it was Vicky who got her uppings on Steph. I think that's the last person that got her comeuppance on Steph was Vicky. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and that was after she had lost.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just trying. I'm going back and I'm thinking. I'm like, yeah, she might have been the last one that actually got anything up on her.
I think that was actually her last. That was the match that she lost. That was why she had to leave, and she just threw her in that vat of pudding or whatever the hell that was.
Well, everybody knows what I call Stephanie. She's the if Triple H is the king of kings, Stephanie McMahon's the castrator of castrators.
Ooh.
So, well, I mean, how many sets of balls do you think she has in her purse?
Yeah.
Most of the men's roster.
Do you remember when she was going to marry Test, Andrew Martin?
Yes, I do.
She killed him.
She physically murdered him to marry Triple H to
Remember
steal
when
him.
the British Bulldog hit her in the head with a trash can and she lost her memory?
No, I do not remember that. That was a little before my time.
Can you believe that? That was a thing. The British Bulldog, who you've probably seen from the late 80s, early 90s, was back in WWE in like 99, and he hurled this trash can into the air and it hit her in the head, and she woke up and she didn't have any of her memories anymore.
See, the first time I remember really seeing Stephanie in a serious angle was when Undertaker was gonna marry her, right? He had her on his big cross, that big T. Do you remember that?
Of course, yeah.
I'm sure you do. Yeah, that's the first time I remember seeing her in a heavy angle. But, I mean, I was young back then, too, and things happen when you're young, and you do a lot of drugs, and you forget stuff. That's just what you do when you're in high school. I don't know. I live in a small town. You know, there's not much to do here.
Not much to do except heavy drugs.
Right, and then you're like, oh, shit, I got to not do this anymore. Because, reasons. So,
yeah.
I think personally the Shield reforms, you got to think that that's going to be your heel, or not your heel, your babyface faction. Maybe this is the way they feel about turning Roman Reigns around.
Because he gets to try to reunite them and have them as babyfaces.
I think so.
Kind of pull. Now, imagine if they combine the two ideas, and they have him become the new Undertaker. And then the Shield reforms with the Undertaker.
And then they're the Ministry.
Yes.
So we get the Ministry of Darkness back all over again.
And then you could have maybe...
And then we'll have Naked Midian.
You had to go there, didn't you?
He is the dark spot on the Ministry, don't you think? No pun intended.
I don't think he was the Naked Midian incarnation of Midian until...
No, he wasn't.
Yeah. Midian... And you've seen that clip before, right? When Undertaker slits his wrist and feeds Dennis Knight his blood. And
yep.
That was one of the craziest things I ever saw on WWE TV. Like, to this day, it's still crazy that they did that.
But I think Ambrose, Rollins, and Reigns need to be put back together. That's the only way to salvage those three. To me, Ambrose is, I don't know if he's just lazy or just boring.
I think he's gotten kind of boring. But the thing is, it seems like when they put a title on him, that's when he gets boring.
Right.
When he's just operating as himself, he's very entertaining.
This is true, and I've always said he's a better chaser than he is a champion.
Yeah.
Because I've felt that too. Because I remember marking the fuck out when he won the WWE title.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then like a month later, it was like, this is kind of dull.
Right.
He's not a very good champion, but he's very good as just being a guy.
I find him to be a pretty good champion. It's just that he loses that edge almost instantly of being like controversial and I don't know. I'm sure they have castrated him a little bit too, because have you seen his stuff as Moxley on the Indies?
Yeah, and I'm sure you can see when he tries to push the line a little bit.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden for weeks after he's kind of
right.
reeled in a little bit, and then he works his way up again, and then kind of pushes that line, and then they're like, "Well, what are you doing?" And they reel him in.
Yeah.
What do you think about him and Renee being split, though? Is that purposefully?
Probably, because the WWE does that. And did you see the Talking Smack thing where they were talking about the draft happening, and That says something. I think one of them asked about Dean Ambrose, and she just kind of gritted her teeth and went, "Yeah, I'm not happy about that, but it's whatever."
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to be separated that much, and
I hope not.
let's be fair. What's the old saying? Space makes the heart grow fond. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Yep. So, hey, it is what it is. Whatever. I wish my wife would leave me alone a few times a week. Just saying. Let's move on. So we don't. Ambrose on Raw, good or bad? Or is he going to get lost in the shuffle again?
I'm going to say it remains to be seen right now.
All right, Miz.
I hate Miz going away from SmackDown because I thought he was probably the best heel that they had. I mean, now they have Kevin Owens, so I'd say maybe that was a fair trade-off, and maybe there just was nothing more for the Miz to do. I mean, all he's been doing is beefing with Daniel Bryan for the last year, but now at this point, that can't end in a match. So I guess maybe they want to try him out somewhere else.
I think that was getting a little too close to home, like you're saying. Daniel Bryan's they're not going to let him wrestle one more match. Right. And it's just like, people are wanting it. What do we do? Because we can't deliver. It's a feud with no ending.
Right.
So let's move him to Raw and have him, or they moved him to John, which was great. He was fantastic in his feud with John.
Right.
And then move him to Raw.
That was probably one of the most disappointing matches at WrestleMania 33, actually.
I knew it was going to happen.
It was just so paint by numbers. Maurice didn't even really wrestle.
Well, Maurice couldn't. You heard about Nikki Bella, right?
No.
She had a neck, what was it? The Thursday before Mania.
Oh, geez.
She was seen by a doctor because of her neck.
Okay.
So I was like, how are they going to do this?
So she couldn't take any bumps.
She couldn't take a bump. So that's why you didn't see Maurice in the ring, really, because Nikki Bella couldn't be in the ring.
That's annoying.
So
yeah, the match was just kind of like 1, 2, 3, it's over, and then 15 more minutes of proposing.
Right. So going in, I kind of knew that, like, you're not going to see Maurice much.
Yeah.
So,
Nikki Bella said that she had no idea that was going to happen, by the way. She was completely shocked by the proposal.
Oh, bullshit.
Yeah.
Every podcast in the world was like, what if? I think she was more shocked it happened, and John wasn't like, let's just walk to the back.
Yeah.
Let's not do this. How long is their engagement? Over or under 5 years?
I'm going to go under, way under.
You're going to go way under? I think it's going to go over.
I'd say it's going to be a year tops.
A year tops?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I just don't know on that one, because he doesn't want to get married, right? That's like John Cena's whole thing. I don't want to get married.
I mean,
never again.
He's engaged. Might as well just close the deal.
Oh, John Cena babies. Can you imagine how big of a push they're going to get?
Oh, man. Well,
if you thought King Matzel got a push.
Maybe, he'll have daughters, and then he and Triple H's daughters will be feuding into the next generation.
That's a painful idea to think of.
It is.
Thanks for that, by the way. Who else did we get? We got Mickie James and Alexa Bliss. Good move for those two?
Definitely. I think that those two rosters are too small. I really don't think the women should be split up. I think they should have their own show. They should also have their own countertops and drinking fountains. I'm just kidding. But there's just not enough of them. Unless you're going to flood both shows with... I mean, they're going to have that all-women tournament this summer, I believe, on the network. And unless you're going to take half of that whole tournament and just put them all into the respective shows, there's just not enough to keep the product from getting stale really quick. Because after you have 6, 7 women on each show, and then that's it. There's no division beyond that.
I'm really hoping they don't do what they did the first time around with the Cruiserweight Classic, because it seemed like they put the cart before the horse on the Cruiserweight Classic.
Oh, totally.
Where they were like, we're going to get all these guys, and we're going to get Zack Sabre Jr. is going to come on, and Ibushi's going to come on, and all these guys are just going to sign because we're WWE. Why not?
Right.
And then all of a sudden that didn't happen, and they're like, shit.
Right.
That's really what I feel like happened, is they put the cart before the horse, and that's why TJP ended up your first Cruiserweight champion. I really feel it was either supposed to be Zack Sabre Jr. or Ibushi. But when
the consensus, yeah.
When they turned him down, they were like, now what?
Right.
We've already eliminated Brian Kendrick. Shit. And that was kind of the thing. So I'm really hoping they sign a lot of these guys before they make a decision. and the decisions made before you put them into. Because I would like to see if they do a field of 32 again. I would like to see every one of those 32 be put somewhere, whether that be NXT, whether that be Raw, SmackDown. I think they do need their own show, though. I think you're right on that one.
I think the cruiserweights do, too. I think Raw, SmackDown, cruiserweights, and women should all be... And even I would even go as far as say put tag teams on their own show, because there's so many people on these rosters now. There's just not enough time for any of them.
Do we have... I guess we do have enough tag teams, huh?
We definitely have enough tag teams. It seems like they're just kind of flashes in the pan on every show. Like sometimes we don't even see them on SmackDown, and then on Raw we'll get one, 4-way tag team match, or we'll get 4 and 4 on each side, and just would be better if we just could have them isolated to one show. And then when you have a pay-per-view, that's when you put one match from each division or 2 matches from each division on the card, and that's when they're all together, not just this mess on Raw.
See, I thought that they should have said, okay, all tag teams go to... let's see, I know a lot of people say the women should go to Raw and the tag team should go to SmackDown. And I'm like, I don't know.
The other way. I think SmackDown is a better showcase for the women.
I think so, too. And then you have more time for the tag teams on Raw.
Right.
And then if you give, maybe you do a smattering, because I'm tired of the cruiserweights being treated like they have fucking the plague. Like, oh, no, you can't wrestle anybody else besides people in the cruiserweight division.
I don't mind that, though, because mixing cruiserweights with heavyweights is what ruins cruiserweights.
Well, I'm not saying mix them with... I don't want to see Jack Gallagher go up against Roman Reigns.
Big Show.
Yeah, or Big Show. But, you do have some smaller guys on the roster. Seth Rollins isn't a big dude.
Right.
Who could definitely mix it up with, say, a Tony Nese.
Yeah, I think it's better just to make a hard cutoff and keep them apart. I mean, you got to wonder why someone like Finn Balor is in a cruiserweight, though. I understand that he came in before that, but the guy's 190 pounds.
Well, they stopped announcing his weight.
Yeah, they have to.
I wasn't surprised at, because, you said, he's 190 pounds.
They could just lie and say he's 207. I don't think anybody would look it up or care, but it would just be better if they kept these things. And what I think that they definitely need to do sometime in the future is have a pay-per-view where the cruiserweight's main event, the same way that UFC does.
What about just a pay-per-view on the network that they do with NXT? Because that's the only... You can't buy... I don't think you can buy NXT on its own, can you? You can't. Yeah, so just do a cruiserweight-focused
I think it would elevate the cruiserweights as a whole if you had a whole card, a whole night of matches, and then the main event, let's say, is Austin Aries versus Neville, and that's billed as what's going to be the best match of the night, and that's what closes the show.
Given it enough time, those guys can steal the show. They damn near did it on the pre-show.
Oh yeah,
that was one of the better matches of the whole day.
Absolutely,
more or less. I loved that match. I was really disappointed that it was on the pre-show.
It was the opening match of the pre-show.
I know. I came in and I was watching the pre-show on my phone because my wife was doing homework, and then all of a sudden it was Austin Aries versus Neville. I'm like, move! We have 3 monitors. I'm watching it on one. So, because I didn't.
We made sure we got into the stadium to see that match. We were like, we're not missing that match, and we. Even though we were there before, any of the festivities really picked up.
It took them 30 minutes to walk down that ramp.
Yeah.
Dash 90 yards. I'm surprised they didn't have that dude with the go-kart.
I actually thought that's what they were going to do. It was going to be one of those manias where you have, the thing ride them down, but only Triple H got that.
Yeah, well, because Triple H gets the world.
I hate him.
That's how these things work. Moving on to SmackDown. Who did we get on SmackDown? Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn open up the show.
So when Kevin Owens walked out, I said, all right, it's about time they split up Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. They should keep those guys up. And then, Sami Zayn walks out. It was like, oh, never mind. And everybody thought Sami Zayn was going to SmackDown. And then when Kevin Owens walked out, I said, oh, okay, I guess Sami Zayn's staying on Raw. Nope, here he is.
Nope, they will fight. They will proverbially fight forever, like the chant says.
Yep.
Do you think that's a feud we see? Even though that's supposed to be done mystically, that's supposed to.
They're gonna put them. First of all, they've become the crutch of any show. If they have nothing good to do, they literally just go to them and say, "Hey, can you guys go out there and have a main event?
Can you burn the house down?" Right. I guess. Okay, great.
Yeah, sure, we'll do it. That's pretty much what they're there for at this point.
I feel so bad for Sammy. I love him in the ring, but let's face it, guys. He is milquetoast.
I like it.
I like him too. I just think he needs some character, and I don't think he's had time enough to develop something.
You don't like his eccentric, like, oh boy, you know.
Oh boy, just so happy to be here. And I lose. Or I pick a fight in the backstage.
He's got to start winning is the
Oh, hello?
Yeah, I just muted my mic for a second because I had to move it.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's got to start winning, I agree.
Yeah, that's not up to him, unfortunately. That's a booking committee. That sucks.
Well, and it's the problem is he's a guy that can lose for days and people will still be behind him.
Right, which I guess at that point they say, who cares if he loses?
Right. It's the same thing they did with Enzo and Cass, except Enzo. I don't know how you feel, but I think Enzo and Cass could have benefited a lot from having a switch.
Yeah, well, they threw the New Day on there to see how that goes. Maybe they'll do some subsequent trades, or we'll have an actual draft later in the summer.
Well, with the Hardys being there, I just think that killed Enzo and Cass's push.
It certainly didn't help. I think everybody had them pegged as the winners of that match
until they heard Team Extreme.
Right.
Oh, there's a fourth team. And I'm like, and I'm seeing in my chat, everyone's going, oh, the New Day are joining. I'm like, nope. This is Matt and Jeff. It's not going to be the broken ones.
Because we all expected the Hardys to show up. Like, that was heavily rumored. And being that they dropped the titles at ROH the night before, people thought this has definitely got to be happening. And then if you could hear the delete chant start as soon as the New Day walks out. But then they did do it. They did clever. They had their gear on, and they started walking down the ramp when they said there's another team. But I figured that
I saw that they were trying to like, hey, it's gonna be us, and then all of a sudden the boom, boom, boom. Yeah,
that was one of the loudest pops I've ever been a part of.
Are you happy the Hardys are back?
Oh, I am. I'm not happy that he's not broken Matt, but I'm hoping that they do that very soon. Like the day that we have Matt Hardy sustain a concussion on Raw, I'm gonna lose my shit because
the day he comes up.
I know it's got to be coming. Yeah.
Word on the street is, and I've been looking around at this, is that they are fight. I don't even know how they're fighting, like why. And it's not so much why. I guess I'll explain this. They're fighting TNA right now for the rights to the broken character, or they're trying to get the rights. And I'm like, why are you even fighting TNA? What kind of do they have a badass lawyer over at TNA that I don't know about? Like, this seems like it would be fucking Johnny Cochran versus some public defense lawyer. Am I wrong on that one?
They might just, if there's a legit claim to that trademark or copyright, they might just not be able to get it, and they want to make sure they go through proper channels or whatever. Or
I can understand proper channels and all that jazz, because obviously WWE's been burned a couple times before, and that's why we have contracts now. But I can't imagine TNA fighting off WWE lawyers.
I mean, it put them out of business, which would be great.
You would want TNA to go out of business? I'm in a different mindset with TNA.
For a long time, I was of the mindset of I want TNA to succeed, and because competition makes the business better. But they've just done everything wrong. And to do things like this, like to intentionally stifle something for the fans. Like, I mean, you know what they did to ROH a few months ago, right? When
they did the cease and desist. And
I think it was it DirecTV just dropped, or Dish dropped the ROH pay-per-view completely. They didn't want, doing shit like that is harmful. It's a big fuck you to the fans as well as the performers and the companies. And if that's the way they're gonna roll, who needs them? And locking wrestlers into contracts for months or years at a time, and then filming your show once every 4 months, and it's just bad.
I understand it's bad for business, but at the same point, I'm looking at this from their point of view. Maybe they knew that these guys were going to, somebody there has got to be reading the dirt sheets. You know what I mean? Did they really want that? I mean, I understand it from you and saying it's not a good thing to do to the fans, but if they awarded it to the Hardys and said, okay, yeah, you guys are good, and then all of a sudden that shit shows up on WWE, don't you feel kind of stupid? Why did we let this go?
Well, yeah, though they shouldn't have let it go. They should also be paying their performers on a regular basis.
That
So-
I could. I mean, we can go both sides of that
Yeah.
coin, but I mean, I get it. I see both sides of the coin, but it's like, man, I can understand them seeing like, oh shit, they're gonna just end up on fucking the competition,
Yeah.
who's beating us with a baseball bat on a daily basis.
But then you got to look at the the in between the lines where we hear that Matt Hardy paid for all these productions and paid for a bunch of stuff himself, and helped the company when they were down, and like he put them back on the map at least temporarily. So it's like when a performer does all that for you, and then you turn around and go, okay, but we're keeping all your shit now.
Yeah, but see, the thing that I have a problem with that is you had a regime change.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's not Dixie saying it, because if Dixie would have done it, I would have lost my shit. But it's Anthem now. It's not Dixie, which I still find completely ironic that she's like, no, Billy Corrigan, I'm gonna fuck you out of everything I ever told you I was gonna give you, and then she turns around, sells to Anthem, and then Anthem does the same thing to her.
right.
I was like, oh, that's poetry. That's great. I don't know. It's a different regime.
It's also the same regime that let Drew Galloway go, though.
Oh, that was a bad mistake. Bad mistake.
And he said on the record that the only reason he left is because they didn't even open contract negotiations with him until a few days before his contract was ready to go.
I got Killian in the chat saying TNA has been shut down. Impact Wrestling opened in its new place, and there's a new.
They're no longer we're saying TNA and Impact interchangeably because it's Impact Wrestling.
It is interchangeable. I'm sorry. I know they're like, oh, we're not TNA now, we're Impact, but they need to change. They need to strip that name completely. TNA and Impact.
They should just call it like Anthem Wrestling Alliance or something.
Something like that.
AWA.
Because until you get rid of TNA and you get rid of Impact altogether from the, get rid of altogether from the name, it's gonna. Those are gonna be interchangeable words,
right?
Until they change that, and not only that, hey TNA Impact or whatever the hell you want to call yourself, change your fucking titles. Your tag titles still say TNA. Your heavyweight championship still says TNA.
And don't they have some kind of like weird grand championship now that they do it like MMA, like it's done in rounds?
Yes, they do it in rounds. You're right, grand championship, and it's done. What is it? It's 3 5-minute rounds or something like that. Yeah, 3 5-minute rounds, and there's judges who judge who wins, which is kind of like, that's silly.
Yeah, you can't. That doesn't make sense for a scripted product
to have judges.
Right.
I mean, I'm all for like a grand championship, but just make it an undercard title. I don't. What about GWF? Global Force, from everything I've understood, and from what Jeff Jarrett has said, which me and Kevin called this months ago, is now going to be merging with TNA.
So you think this was his end game the whole time? Was he was gonna make some other company that magically is going to merge into the universe of TNA?
I didn't think that was his original idea. I think he was like, well, I don't need TNA anymore, and I got a pile of cash, so I'm going to go make this over here for 1/5 of the cost or whatever. And then when it was said he was coming back to TNA, I'm like, well, just wait. These 6 guys that still wrestle for Global Force are going to be there soon.
Which, by the way, hats off to Impact or Anthem or whoever for rehiring all the people that originally ran TNA that never could do anything with TNA and putting them back in charge of TNA or Impact or whatever they want to call it again.
Well, when was TNA hot?
TNA.
There was a time where they were pulling in ones.
TNA had some buzz around when they started, and then when they first went on to network TV, I'd say it's like that. So 2002, I think, was when they were exclusively on pay-per-view for $10 a pop, I think. And then I think 2000, I want to say 2005, right? Or yeah, 2005, I think, when Raw went back to USA, and then they picked up TNA, and then it had some eyeballs for a long time. And then it got some more again when they brought in Hogan and all those guys.
The main event mafia.
Yeah, like that period of time, from 2005 to 2010, I would say there was there was peaks and valleys, and then it just fell off after that completely.
Well, that's when Dixie Carter came in.
Yeah.
And after Dixie Carter came in, it went to just pure and utter shit. Because she was, I guess, Dixie Carter doesn't know how email works. Who was it? I can't remember. Killian will probably tell me in the chat. It was either Destination America or Spike TV. They wanted nothing to do with Vince Russo. They're like, we do not want Vince Russo a part of anything ever, which is sad when a company that's that big goes, yeah, that one guy in wrestling.
Yeah, we had nothing to do with that one guy.
We know about him, and we want nothing to do with him.
Right.
And she's like, I guess she sent an email to the entire company. It was like mocking the CEO. Oh, what an idiot! He doesn't know what we're doing, and accidentally CC'd the CEO of that company.
It's great.
And so he's like, haha, guess who doesn't have a network anymore? Get the fuck out of here.
Way to go.
And that was the end of that. So, and then she still hires Vince Russo. I mean, this is the man that almost could be said synonymously, almost single-handedly killed WCW.
It's arguable.
I mean, he's one of the reasons. He's got to be in the top 5.
Yeah.
Top 5 reasons why WCW shut down. One of them, Vince Russo. Which is sad. People still think he's fucking amazing and is just brilliant. Yeah, Leon says Spike TV. Killian says it was Spike too.
Okay.
So those two guys know their TNA/Impact. What do you want, woman?
It's been an hour. Time to wrap it up, babe.
All right.
Getting the wrap.
I'm getting this. Go home. Send it home, people.
The go home.
It's been 33 minutes.
You said it started at 11.
Well, we didn't start right at 11.
Well, that's not my fault.
I'll wrap it up here in a minute. She's giving me the eyes of death. I'm gonna give you one. I'm gonna give you one piece of advice, Matt. Never get married. Just stay single forever. It's a much better life. I know at times it's like, man, this is rough, but it's really not. It's really.
Oh yeah, I know.
When you look back, you're like, shit. When I was single, me and Kevin were talking about this not too long ago. We got a buddy that doesn't. And this isn't a jab at him, but we got a buddy that doesn't have any kids. And we're like, man, what would we do with all of our time if we had no children?
You'd probably travel.
Probably.
Yeah.
Like, what would we do, honey? If we had no kids, what would we do with all of our free time?
Sleep and have sex.
Sleep and have sex, which leads to children.
That's true.
It's such ironic.
It's the ironicness.
Much
is,
irony.
irony is just crazy.
That
This
night-
is true. And
That night, I eat at a lot of restaurants or order food for delivery.
yeah, that too. Which
Probably
we-
be on more of a fixed budget if I had kids and couldn't do that.
Kevin says, calm down. Amanda. She's telling you to calm down. That's Kevin, by the way, right there. Wrestling with issues. But, all right, let's move on to the women that they got. They got Tamina and Charlotte.
Yeah.
Which was rumored. I mean,
I-
Charlotte.
I love Shane McMahon trolling the audience and saying, second generation, daughter of a Hall of Famer, and then Tamina walks out and the crowd's like, oh, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, it's Charlotte.
Yeah. It would have been better if people were just like, just fucking with you. Come on out, Charlotte. Instead of were you expecting somebody else?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was very good. I thought he was just going to be like, I'm just kidding. Come on out here.
Psych.
But no more Bayley and Charlotte. Does this equal a heel turn for Sasha on the other brand?
I want them to swerve us all and have Bailey turn heel.
I want a Bayley heel turn too. I thought I was the only one.
No one would see that coming.
Oh, I want it. So I do want it, and I'm like, man, does anybody else want a Bayley heel turn? No? Okay, I'm just me. So I haven't said it in a while, but I've wanted a Bayley heel turn for a long time because, like you said, nobody would see it coming.
Right. Everybody think it would be like '94 when we all thought that Lex Luger might turn heel, and it turned out it was Tatanka.
Tatanka. Good times. What else do we got? What else happened this week, Matt? You got anything else? That was pretty much the superstar shakeup in a nutshell.
Have you talked about the Roman Reigns beatdown on any other show?
We did, but we can go through it again. I am not opposed to talking about. I'm not done yet.
There's really not much more to say about it that hasn't been said already.
I'm not finished with you!
Just what made this beatdown so great was the fact that it just kept going, and when you were like, okay, this is it, they did it.
Did you see the damn people that wanted to fire Braun Strowman?
Yeah.
I was like, you guys know this is not real, right? Like, he didn't really go kill Roman Reigns.
I don't know if people seem to throw out the rhetoric. Well, it's wrestling, it's fake. And then when like something really bad happens, they don't seem to know it's fake.
They seem to forget that it's,
Right.
scripted.
It's a TV show, just like.
And it was so obviously, like, I mean, maybe it's obvious for me because I do edit video, but you can see the blips where they splice two things together.
Well, I knew right as soon as they had the interview start, I said, well, this has to have been recorded because, Michael Cole walking backstage and then doing a live interview backstage with Roman Reigns, like, doesn't make, why would they do this backstage? And then when the attack happened, I said, oh, okay, they must have recorded this earlier. And then when they did the screen would flicker like as if like they ran over a wire, there was some kind of interference for a second. And then all of a sudden, Roman Reigns is getting thrown head first on a gurney off of a truck dock. It was okay. I get it now. It's a mannequin, or no one's in there.
Nobody was in there. That's when it flickered. I'm like, yes, because Braun Strowman could make the camera flicker.
Yeah, and
I was like, really? What is this? Like, it didn't make sense.
People seem to actually think that he deadlifted the ambulance himself.
Oh no, that was rigged.
And well, I even if he could potentially do that, which he very well could, you risk pretty bad injury. Like there's like a high probability that you'll hurt yourself in a situation like that, and it's just not worth the risk when you can rig it up.
Right, and it was rigged. You could see the jacks on the tires that were assisting him.
Yeah.
So, is Sasha really the most popular, or is she overexposed?
I don't think Sasha's the most popular. I don't think she's been popular for a year now.
I would have to agree with you. I mean, I know my kids love her. My wife loves Sasha and Bailey. I love Bailey nip slips, but I was disappointed when all was said and done. I don't know how did you see it? Did you see the Bailey nip slip?
Yeah, I had to see it after.
I was very right, but I was fairly disappointed in it. I'm like, even her nipples are boring. God, can't you have some big old pepperonis or something down there?
That match was actually very disappointing for me and a bunch of people in my section, as well as a bunch of people in the stadium, because they shined those bright yellow lights into the audience.
Yes.
I couldn't see the match. Like, I was squinting and I ended up watching it on the screen, but I really couldn't. And I didn't see a lot of the things that were supposed to happen in the match. Like, I didn't understand why everybody was getting eliminated so easily.
Right.
But then it turned out it was because the turnbuckle pad had been pulled off.
But not pulled off.
Yeah.
So with a bad angle, you did not know it was off.
Right.
So, yeah, I heard about that one too. But it was to say, you didn't have any cruiserweight matches at Mania. You just had the opening one.
Yeah, the pre-show, yeah.
Which I don't think flashing, because we had, at Fastlane, we had just the one. Or did we have two? I can't remember. I know we at least had one. We had Gallagher versus Neville.
Right.
And they're not yellow. I believe they were purple.
Yeah.
That just flash in your eyes, and from where we were sitting, it was just like, oh, fuck. Thanks for that. I'm blind for the next 6 days.
Yeah, they don't seem to get that people can't see when they do it. And they've been doing this for years now, by the way.
Well, they do it so that you can't see the guy, even though you still can see the guys working. You can. I'm guessing that's why they do it, so that you think it's magic. Yeah, Harry Potter came and waved his wand, and now all of a sudden the ropes and ring mat are purple. Yeah, no, we see the 30 guys. I mean, there had to be 8 guys on a side, so 32 dudes down there just ripping shit off and
they go
all
hard.
that stuff. It was crazy, and we timed it 3 minutes. 3 minutes is what they have.
It's a commercial break.
That is a commercial break. 3 minutes is what they have to put it on and take it off, which is crazy watching them put it on, because I watched one guy take this wadded up thing, and I didn't know what it was. And obviously it's the purple rope.
Right.
And he just slaps it on and then throws it down to the other end. And then I don't know if they take a heat gun or whatever, and then it just shrink it to it. Or if the heat from your hands will do it. I have no idea.
I think it's some kind of tape. I think it's like your basic duct tape or something.
But he had it wrapped up. He had it in this wad. You saw it in his hand, and he wrapped it over, and then he threw it down to the other side. And then there was a guy down there who was waiting for it, and then he attached it to something. And then you could see them padding it onto the rope. So it might be like a tape. Yeah. That you have to, rip the other side off, and then once you run over it with your hand, it adheres to it. Because then afterward, when they were pulling it off, you could see them just rip right off
easily. Yeah.
So, Wookie, are you going to the Ring of Honor pay-per-view in Wisconsin? Maybe. Ring of Honor
should.
wants some cash.
You should. How much? Yeah, their tickets have gotten really expensive.
$75 for a decent seat.
Ugh.
I was like, ugh, that's kind of price. And I don't have anybody to go with. So it would just be me.
I mean, that's not so bad.
That's not so. I don't do anything alone, though. You know what I mean? Like,
I went to WrestleMania 29 by myself.
I haven't done anything alone since I got married.
And I ended up sitting next to Roderick Strong at WrestleMania 29.
No shit, he's from Green Bay.
Oh, wow.
That's a fun fact. Fun fact from Wookie. Yeah, he's from Green Bay, Wisconsin. But so is Hornswoggle. So you take the good with the bad, really, I guess. That's about all we have for this. Braun Strowman killed Roman, which made the audience pop the fuck out. So that was fun.
Sure.
You did, and it just got louder as the night went on. We went over all the fun acquisitions that both Raw and SmackDown did make. I didn't really see anything else fun pop out of this week besides everybody wants Strowman and JBL fired.
That was literally it.
That was literally it. Everything else got covered up.
Yep.
I didn't see anything else fun, and that kind of sucks. I was hoping to get to talk to you for a little bit while longer.
Yeah,
but of course, we'll have you back on.
Oh.
You're a friend of the show, obviously. We'll have you back on with. We'll get you on the Mixler show so you can plug your guys over there. So
Sweet.
We'll have tons more fun. It just unfortunately was kind of a lackluster week in wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing much happened. But I do have something I want to show you because maybe you'll. I showed it to Kevin. He was like, "Yeah, I don't really care," but maybe you'll mark out a little bit. What do you think of that?
That's pretty cool.
I thought that was pretty sweet. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Rock and Roll Express signed. I got that out of the pro wrestling loot.
That's really cool. I got this at Hogan's Beach Shop.
What did you get?
Orlando, Florida.
What is that? Is that a
It's
that a durag?
It's the remake of his bandana he had in the early 90s. Except instead of the WWE logo, it's now the double H for Hulk Hogan.
Double H Hulk Hogan brother. Yeah. What do you think his chances of making it back to WWE? Because everyone was saying that the New Day were going to introduce him back in this year.
He'll be back eventually. He's Hulk Hogan. He always comes back.
He's Hulk Hogan because I know you're a big Hulk Hogan fan.
Yeah.
But guys, go check out their show. They do good work over there. I do enjoy listening to them each and every single week. When do you do your shows?
Wednesday nights, 8 o'clock usually.
And do you do them live or pre-recorded?
We do them live.
Do you do them live on Facebook now?
Yeah, we're doing a Facebook. There's also an audio stream. But yeah, we just started doing Facebook video, which makes the show a little bit more interactive because people hit us up instantly. In the comments. So something to think about.
So what's your Facebook? So we can throw that out to everybody.
Pretty sure it's facebook.com/doing the job.
Just doing the job?
I think.
And then where can they find you? What do you go through? Mixler for your?
No, we do Spreaker.
You do Spreaker.
Yep.
So go check them out. Spreaker doing the job. You guys can follow him on Twitter at M2J. I know your cohorts don't really do too much Twitter.
They don't do it.
Yeah, it is what it is. But Matt, we had a great time again, as usual. Always fun having you on. We'll get you on again. We'll get you on the Mixler stream, and then obviously, if we're still doing the YouTube skis, we'll do it there too. So, always fun to have you guys. Go check them out. They do really good work. It is fun listening to them. Check them out. Facebook, I think, is the big one, and then Spreaker, obviously, other big ones. So, guys, happy Easter. I see everybody happy Easter on this chat. Yes, Killian, we will most likely be doing an Impact, like I said, this week, Thursday, and this week was a mess. You had Easter. I had my quote-unquote brother-in-law's birthday party to go to. It just was a mess. It was a hot mess that I unfortunately didn't plan ahead on because, when you have a significant other, they don't always tell you about all your plans that you have. You just find out about them sometimes, so that kind of was in the way. Matt, take us out with that sweet Braun Strowman.
Oh.
I'm not finished with you!
Oh, yeah. Guys, have a good Easter. We'll see you tomorrow.